If you accidentally bought whole coffee beans, here's what to do. You're yearning for a cup of coffee and suddenly realize that you accidentally bought whole coffee beans from the grocery store. No worries, my friend. We're going to show you 6 ways to grind coffee beans without a coffee grinder, using common kitchen appliances like a blender or food processor. Here's the really exciting part of this little whole coffee bean challenge. If you've never tried freshly ground coffee before, we think that once you try it, there's no going back. 1. Use a food processor to grind whole coffee beans. Put your beans in the food processor. Pulse them slowly at first, then more frequently, listening to the sound of the beans as they are ground. It's best to grind in small batches. You can grind them to a medium or medium fine grind with this method. 2. A blender can grind up whole beans. Add your coffee beans, then turn on the blender at a low setting and pulse it for a few seconds. Then shake the blender a bit to redistribute the beans. Listen to the sound of the beans being ground up and check frequently. Pulse, shake, listen. 3. Grab the rolling pin. Put your coffee beans in a plastic bag and wrap with a kitchen towel for added protection. Grind small amounts at a time. Crush by pressing down and then rolling over the beans with the rolling pin. Give the bag a good shake after each roll to make sure all of the beans are crushed. 4. Careful use of a large kitchen knife instead of a coffee grinder. Use caution with this method, but if you are proficient with using large, wide blade knives in the kitchen, it can work. Begin with a clean and dry blade. Put the whole coffee beans into a freezer bag, and wrap the bag in a kitchen towel. Lay the beans on a flat surface and position your knife. You can use a large chef's knife or butcher's cleaver, so that it sits flush against the surface of the beans. Do not whack the knife. Press on the flat of the blade and let it do all of the work. Gently and slowly grind your beans, applying equal pressure against them with each pass across them. The heavier your blade, the slower you want to go. You need to maintain control. 5. Use a mallet or meat tenderizer. Place your beans into a plastic freezer bag, then place the bag on a flat surface and start striking them with the hammer. Once beans are broken down, you can use a press and grind technique, like with the rolling pin. You'll get a coarse to medium coarse grind. 6. The simple mortar and pestle can grind whole coffee beans. Start with just a couple spoonfuls of coffee beans. Use a twisting motion and cover the mortar with your hand to keep the beans inside. Grind up the beans by pressing down with your pestle, then rolling it around inside the mortar. Repeat until you have the grind size desired. Although you've had to make do with some alternatives to a coffee grinder, hopefully you've realized how much better a simple cup of coffee can be when the coffee beans are freshly ground, just prior to brewing. Who knows? You might decide to invest in a simple coffee grinder and use freshly ground beans every time. Thanks for watching.